What's up, squad? It's your Squid. This video is part 4 in a 5-part series on the documentary There Will Never Ever Be Another Driver Like Dale Earnhardt. You guys almost bullied me into it, but didn't really bully me into it. I just needed a little bit of convincing, and there were a lot of comments convincing me to do this. So yeah, as I said, part 4 in a 5-part series. You probably already know that because you've watched the first 3 parts. I'm going to stop bibbly-babbling and whatnot, and tell you that these guys are my patrons. They're awesome. You could be awesome too. And yeah, let's get into part 4, shall we? Thanks for tuning back in, guys. I'm glad you're all on board with the Dale Earnhardt videos and whatnot. My views went crazy with the day, so I'm hoping that my views will go crazy with this one as well, and then we'll get back into regular routine and everything, and hopefully my views collectively will be booming still and everything like this. I'm hoping this is the start of a big spike up, you know what I mean? But yeah, part 4, there will never ever be another driver like Dale Earnhardt. We went through the history of why NASCAR was started. We went through Ralph Earnhardt, who was Dale's dad. Dale going through like his numerous different teams and different numbers and stuff, trying to find the right fit. Then he found Childress and he got the number 3, and then he went into the black because he was sort of like embracing his role as a heel with his bump and run and stuff like that. And I postulated the theory that Kyle Busch and Dale Earnhardt have very similar driving styles, and that's why people don't like Kyle Busch, because it reminds them of Dale Earnhardt or something, and they do really like Dale Earnhardt, but then they're sad about Dale Earnhardt not being around, and sadness turns into anger at Busch. But who knows, right? I'm not a psychologist. Let's just keep watching.
This accident would force NASCAR to implement restrictor plates at all future super speedway races,
yeah, that makes sense.
which would limit the horsepower of all cars to keep them below dangerous speeds. This would profoundly change the way drivers raced at Daytona.
Creates a lot of drafting though, doesn't it?
Gone were the days of Bill Elliott making up 5 miles under green. Restrictor plates made it so that cars could no longer pull away from each other, instead emphasizing the attractive effects of slipstream. Simple racing moves such as
yeah, there we go as well. I'm glad he said that, slipstream, because in my last series I said slipstream and somebody was like, oh, it's drafting, not slipstream, you idiot.
As timing and aerodynamics were now much more important than speed and handling.
Restrictor ate it all up. It made everybody the same speed, and that made it probably more dangerous than when we were running 210.
Yeah, probably.
Many drivers were unhappy with this new change, and no driver hated restrictor plate racing more than Dale Earnhardt. Which was a little odd, considering he was the best restrictor plate racer on the planet.
Alright. Yeah, because he just moved people out of the way. Doesn't matter if there's more people in front of you, you just keep moving them out of the way. Oh, alright. Every car out there has tyre marks on it. It makes everybody race together. I'm all for safety, but that kind of racing is no fun. To me, it sounds like a deal for pansies. I'll just make it more dangerous. It'll just make it more dangerous. Everyone will be on top of each other trying to get to the front. I don't see anything good about it. I hate restricted plate races. All of them. None of them are good.
It was one of the most dominant of any race category in motorsports history, and it happened during a time when NASCAR had arguably its toughest ever competition. The 90s truly were a golden age of NASCAR in popular culture. Attendance and television ratings steadily rose as movies like Days of Thunder drew intrigue from across the nation.
I'll have to give that a watch.
Brands and TV networks were lining up to capture their own slice of the booming NASCAR scene. NASCAR had gone fully national, and it had fundamentally transformed itself from a simple showcase of speed in the prior decade. The sponsors, drivers, tracks, and cars had all changed, but one thing remained the same. Dale Earnhardt was dominating the competition. From 1990 to 1994, Dale Earnhardt would win 4 more Cup championships, tying Richard Petty's record of 7, a record considered by many to be untouchable just 10 years prior. With each new championship, it became harder and harder for people to disregard Earnhardt's success, although many still resented his racing style. You can't win 7 NASCAR championships without being a pretty talented driver. Earnhardt's detractors were simply running out of excuses to deny his greatness. Soon, there was only one thing keeping Dale out of the conversation for the greatest of all time.
Now, you've not won Daytona, right? I've won Daytona, the firecracker race in July, but I haven't won the Daytona 500. That's like the Super Bowl race for us.
You can tell he's salty about it too.
After 17 years of effort, the Daytona 500 belongs to Franklin, Tennessee's Darrell Waltrip. He's done it.
Oh, I won the
the Daytona 500! I won the Daytona 500!
In 1989, Darrell Waltrip won his first and only Daytona 500 in his 17th attempt. At the time, he was considered the best driver to never win it, and after he did, everyone was left to wonder about the next best driver to take Waltrip's place. Immediately, many thought of Dale Earnhardt, who had yet to win the Daytona 500 after 11 tries. But surely in 1990, while entering the final corner of the final lap in first place, after leading 3/4 of the race, Earnhardt could put the narrative to rest.
They still run single file, halfway down the back straightaway, half a lap to go. Still, Earnhardt now stretching his lead by another car length over Cope.
Is this where he hits the go?
Earnhardt's car blows up. Earnhardt blows the tire in turn number 3. And on the outside, it is car number 10, Derek Cope, something to miss on the Earnhardt car.
Just 2 races in entire NASCAR career. One of them was the Daytona 500. That's insane. Is that when he hit the seagull?
Dale, what the heck happened on the last lap?
We ran over some debris and cut a right rear tire down, David. Just a 1/4 of a lap away from victory.
Oh, well, at least he takes it in his stride, I guess.
In 1991, Earnhardt would damage his car after hitting a seagull, forcing him to pit. He would battle all the way back to 2nd place before crashing with 2 laps to go.
Dale Earnhardt fails to win the Daytona 500 again.
In 1992, Earnhardt would get caught up in a crash that wasn't his fault. A newfound consequence of restrictor plate racing were massive crashes that would often wipe out over a dozen cars. After a while, these crashes seemed almost inevitable due to the extremely close pack racing that now resembled rush hour traffic, but at 190 miles per hour.
Is the cure worse than the issue at that point?
A chain reaction that would take many cars out of the race. It was one of Earnhardt's main reasons for hating restrictor plate racing, and he would fall victim to it numerous times. In 1993, Earnhardt would once again lead most of the race, only to finish 2nd after Dale Jarrett passed him on the final lap. After a 7th place finish in 94, Earnhardt would finish 2nd again in 1995, and again in 1996.
Far out, always the bridesmaid, eh?
Season, Earnhardt would suffer a horrific-looking crash that sent his number 3 Chevy tumbling down the Talladega front stretch.
Fuck, that was savage, wasn't it? Oh, I really do need to do these Visor-Cam crashes, you know what I mean?
Like, attempting to walk to the ambulance as he walks away from one of the worst incidents.
Sternum, collarbone, and shoulder.
It was known that Dale Earnhardt hated,
and he would race the next week.
Starting to look like restrictor plate racing hated him.
All those frustrating years for Earnhardt, so close.
Right place, right time. Like I just told Richard, I said, "What do you think? You know him better than I do." He said, "I've been here a lot of times before, and you can bet he's been in the 4-pan right now with that throttle pedal. But if it's racing God's time to shine on that 3, we'll just have to see."
As was the formula
that's prophetic. Racing God's time to shine on the 3.
Battle for the lead with just a few laps to go, and all of a sudden, he found himself on his roof once again.
Whoa, there goes the back of his car too.
Straight away. Big trouble. Earnhardt out.
That's unfortunate.
Number 3. And for the 19th time, Lady Luck deals a bad hand.
That's Ken Squire again.
I'm sure I actually believe in
good call.
But Dale Earnhardt's misfortune in the Daytona 500 really made me consider it. For some wicked reason, the 7-time NASCAR champion and best superspeedway racer in the world could not, for the life of him, win this one superspeedway race. Earnhardt's gut-wrenching futility at this one event is made even more insane when you consider that he's the winningest driver in the history of the track.
Winning is just such a strange word.
In 1997, Earnhardt had won pretty much every stock car event at Daytona multiple times over.
Like, I know what it means and everything, but it's still just...
After 19 tries and 19 failures, he should have been completely discouraged. But Dale Earnhardt was not a quitting man. He wasn't even willing
Plus,
to
he was still a championship winner, one of the best to ever do it, you know? Like, you may as well still go out there. You're not going to abandon a race during the championship, are you? Because, I just can't win at that track. Never mind.
It's an absolute miracle.
Even though he no longer had any chance of winning, Dale Earnhardt would hop out of the ambulance and back into his mangled car to finish the race.
Alright.
Faced with the lowest moment of his career, Dale Earnhardt did what he always did. He waited for an opportunity and pushed forward.
Nice. Says a lot about the man's integrity, you know?
Car up ahead. And there's trouble coming off of turn 2. Some cars get tangled. It might be this. Whoever gets back to the start-finish line, they'll get the white and the yellow together.
20 years of trying, 20 years of frustration. Dale Earnhardt will
Finally, every man on every
everyone out there going, well done,
to
mate.
the edge of pit lane to congratulate the man who has dominated everything there is to win in this sport, except this race, until today. They used to boo Dale Earnhardt when he was winning too much. That'll happen if you dominate any sport.
That's
But
it.
today, when they introduced the Intimidator, the crowd
Everyone was
full of
cheering.
cheers.
For all them race fans and all them people have been saying, Dale, this is your year. Dale, this is your year. And boy, a lot of them said it this year. The Daytona 500 is ours. We've won it, we've won it, we've won it.
Good job. Good job. Good job.
The hangover from Earnhardt's Daytona 500 victory lasted throughout the 1998 season, where Dale would not win another race and finish a distant 8th in points.
Oof.
Perhaps overcoming the single greatest foe in his
That was
racing
enough.
career was a little demotivating. After winning the 500, Earnhardt had almost nothing left to accomplish.
Yeah, he
could have tried
filled his
for another
boots.
championship, breaking the tie with Richard Petty, but both he and a lot of others began to tell that his age was starting to get the best of him. Later in the 98 season, Earnhardt suffered his second hard crash at Talladega in 2 years. In the post-race interview, Earnhardt for the first time ever sounded fed up, exhausted, and demoralized.
What was the day like up to that point?
Good. It's not good racing, though. Y'all can talk about all you want. It ain't good racing.
In 1999, Earnhardt
salty
would
about the
infamously
restrictor
dump Terry
plates.
Labonte to win at Bristol.
Leader changes. Labonte takes the lead. And meanwhile, Mickey Mouse
Oh, turns him. That's the one I think I said was he was a bit of an asshole for that.
Any goodwill he had from his crowning achievement just a year prior had worn out its welcome, as Earnhardt was showered in a chorus of boos from the 140,000 in attendance.
Weren't happy with how we done it.
Earnhardt and the fans had a mutual yearning for something new.
I'm here with Dale Earnhardt after he just won the Die Hard 500.
What's the question, dude?
How was your race?
That was the race. Alright, this is where his son comes in.
While Dale Earnhardt never achieved his dream of racing alongside his father, he was able to race alongside his son. Dale Earnhardt Jr. made his
sick.
full-time Winston Cup debut in 2000 under his father's own race team. Dale Jr. captured his first career win in just his 12th overall start, almost 21 years to the day
That's
of his
not bad.
father's first win. In Victory Lane that day, Dale Sr. appeared to take more pride in his son's accomplishment than any of his own. Racing with his son seemed to renew Dale Earnhardt's sense of purpose. Some would say that's all he ever really wanted, to race side by side with his own flesh and blood. And although the aging
That's pretty
Earnhardt was
cool.
nearing the end of his career, he would still make you think twice about questioning his greatness.
Earnhardt trying to come up through the middle.
It's a nice montage too. Far out, look how wide they are. That was 4 wide. Just through the field. And he gets in front there too, I reckon. Bloody good racing.
Legend has it that Dale Earnhardt was so good at restrictor plate racing because he could see the air coming off of the other cars and used this
See
ability
the
to
air.
perfectly
Alright.
time his passes. Dale Earnhardt's 76th and final career win came, fittingly, in a restrictor plate race at Talladega.
Well, take a look at this moment. That is Michael out of control, tri-oval, into a series of sidewinders. 9 shattering snap rolls.
Prior to the start of the 2001 season, DEI signed Michael Waltrip to
Oh
drive
yeah,
the
that was
15
Waltrip,
Chevy.
that's right.
Michael Waltrip had spent his
Oh,
entire
man, this
career
end.
racing in the shadow of his older brother Darrell, and after 15 lackluster seasons, Michael Waltrip was still seeking his first career win.
This is going to beep, but I'm going to let it go for another 2 minutes, I reckon. And another minute. Alright, we'll just go another minute.
Dale Earnhardt believed in Michael, however, and he would open 2001 racing not just with his son, but with his team. I think all of you know what happens next. It was probably the only thing you knew about Dale Earnhardt. On one February afternoon, Dale Earnhardt would enter his black number 3 for the final time.
Michael wins, but he can't ever remember it as being that good a day. Like, they get the 1, 2, 3. Well, they would have got the 1, 2, 3, you know? Like, they get the 1, 2. But they're like, oh, man, just a shit story. Like, I mean, a good story, you know what I'm saying? But, like, because they won the next couple of races, and Junior won the next 500 and all that. Like, I get it, but just shouldn't be like that, you know what I mean? Like, that's rough. I'm going to pause it so it doesn't alarm again, but we're going to watch to the end of this montage at the very least before we dive into the last video. It's intense racing, isn't it? Anyway, we're going to pause it there. There's 13 minutes to go in the documentary, so that'll make for a nice last video. This was the 4th in a 5-part series on this documentary, which is the There Will Never Ever Be Another Driver Like Dale Earnhardt. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If this, for some reason, was the first one that you stumbled across, check out my motorsport playlist, because the first 3 will be there, and probably within about 20 minutes of the time this was uploaded, and then you've watched this amount within 10 or 15 or 20 minutes or whatever, the next one will be uploaded as well. So if you're watching this in the future, all 5 should be there. Check them out in the motorsport playlist. As I said, these guys are my patrons. They're awesome. They help me pay my bills and whatnot, and you could help me pay my bills and whatnot too. As an American immigrant, I can't work yet. This is my only source of income, other than my wife's income as well, which is, you know, not to put too fine a point on it, not going to be in existence relatively soon, because she's about to pop and is pregnant. So yeah, any dollary dues that you could spare, that'd be sick. But yeah, I'm gonna get on with it, and I'm gonna do the 5th video. So hope you guys have been enjoying. As I said, thanks for watching. I'll see you when I look at you. You'll see me when you look at me. Thanks for watching.